I got into text mining back in grad school, and subsequently I was managing the Starwood Hotels account. We were looking at over 1.3 million customers surveys per year. And I realized the most valuable piece of data here were the text comments, which nothing was being done with. And so that's when I founded OdinText, or Anderson Analytics, the company that developed OdinText. That was 11 years ago. What makes OdinText unique is really that it's by market researchers for market researchers. And so it's focused on giving you what you need and less focused on the technology. The user interface, everything is really to help the user answer the questions that ultimately the C-suite has of them. In terms of context, not only does OdinText look at the text data like other text analytics software, but we pull in any and all available structured data. We found that whenever there is text data worth analyzing, there is always critical structured data. And so that's part of the benefit of OdinText, is pulling in all that structured data for context and then allowing us to understand how that structured data is affected by the comments and text data. Well, sentiment is very much a buzzword. It's not as important, honestly, as it seems. We have the 8 major emotions. Emotions have become more important than sentiment, which is rightly so, I believe. But beyond that, though, what really differentiates our approach is that nobody's really interested in sentiment, when they can predict sales or actual return behavior. And so that's what we're focused on, not understanding, who are your sad or happy customers, but more, how do you drive revenues up? What's hurting revenues? What's hurting brand loyalty? That's what we're focused on understanding. Yeah, dark data is one of the new buzzwords. Not much for buzzwords, but I think it's a lot more interesting than the big data buzzword. And dark data doesn't really necessarily have to be big nor small, but there's a good anecdote actually about dark data that's commonly used. A police officer finds a man crawling around in the dark under a street light looking for his wallet. And the police officer says, are you sure this is where you lost your wallet? And he says, well, it might have been there on the other side of the street probably, but there's no light over there. And I think it does a good example showing us the kind of bias that a lot of market researchers introduce by looking in the wrong place for what they need. A lot of people are focusing on social media right now because it's in the light, because everybody's pointing to it. Our clients have come to us recently more and more with interesting use cases, not just looking at customer data, but actually looking at employee emails. Stitching together data from various sources, not just for the sake of creating big data. In fact, some of this data is rather small, but it is valuable because each source is responsible for millions of dollars of revenue often. And so this is what text analytics can very much help with. In terms of dark data, a lot of people talk about video and pictures. Of course, that comes with text descriptions often, metadata and so forth, whether it's YouTube's transcripts being automated, etc. But beyond that, pretty much even survey data, a lot of that is dark. And that's what OdinText can really help you uncover, in part because how we tie structured and unstructured data together. It's bringing these things that were in the dark to light, and it's fascinating. It's really our customers that are pushing us into this area, and I'm seeing uses for the tool that I had never thought about before. Yeah, I think that, depending on what parts of the business, obviously market researchers, consumer insights analysts are more focused on customers. There's other departments that we're working with at companies now, since our tool can be used by different departments, that are more focused on internal employees or other kinds of data. The real benefit, I think, is, of course, in combining the two when it makes sense. And it's all about finding that signal. And again, I think that's a good analogy in terms of the dark data, to really stop and think, and where might the answers to these questions be? is this data that I have on hand easily, but we just have never looked at because we haven't had the tools. So text analytics is a way to answer that, whether it be customer data, employee data, something else, or a combination of the three. It's been a great conference, and really always inspired by the NGMR winners and the awards. They inspire us as much as our clients do in thinking about new innovation.